I actually kind of like them slowing this down. Ooh, nice ankle in the blue. That's going to be shaken, finding one. I believe he had himself a jammer peg on, so not taking any damage with it, but here's Chris.
Here and there. This is crazy. Yeah, bombardment will start here. It's Chris gets hit by Bad from the distance with the mortar.
I'm not sure, but that was insane. Oh my god.
And it's cold in the north, and they are shivering. They're shivering.
This is the moment where I feel like we made a play that we wouldn't have made if the day was better. My idea going into this tournament was, especially after the qualifiers, was that we were playing really well. We had a really good overall game plan. We were looking really solid. The confidence was good. The energy was good. A lot of the problems we had in practice, in scrims before, were kind of gone in the tournament, which is something we have happen a lot. I felt really good going into the tournament. I felt like we were going to have a good tournament. If it was meant to be, we'd make top 2. And if it wasn't meant to be, we'd maybe get 5th, 7th, something like that. So I was pretty confident, honestly, in how we should perform in this tournament.
It looks like it's going to be Acend. Look at Rooks, though, trace things out. He might just go for the second one. Kill your guy somehow gets it, though.
Overthrows the Molotov just a little, but it might have actually baited Miko into thinking the position is a little different.
The question is, does Lou hit the last shot?
He's hopped down onto the roof. They just weren't expecting that extra bit of height on the peak. Kiliakai wraps around the side. He takes all 3, 2 sweet little flushes, and a 3rd onto Sose. Twisted Minds is running out of utility and running out of space. And Kiliakai getting even more of the kills. Mika finishing the job for Acend.
We have to get to top 2, so it's kind of hard in a Battle Royale. 16 teams want to get top 2, so there is pressure.
Yeah, it was pretty tricky for me in a way because I feel like part of my job is sort of to balance the pressure a little bit. So to like make sure that people are motivated, right, and are driven, but make sure that they're not too pressured at the same time. And it was still really important that if you don't get top 2, you still get some PGC points, right? You still make a top 5 or something and make sure you put yourself in a good position for PGC points for the rest of the year. So I didn't want it to be 100% about that top 2. But that's the main thing that was on everyone's mind anyways, because it's the one thing that's really worth something is qualifying to PGS 3 and 4. That was still in everyone's head. So I tried to sort of even that out a little bit, but I don't know how possible that really was or is. Even if you have a bad game 1 and 2 on day 1, then the rest of your day, you're already under way more pressure because you're already at the bottom of the leaderboard. So
Bombardment will start here. It's Chris gets hit by Bad from the distance with the mortar. There was also Ned's going to be coming here from win or die to finish things off as well. Acend, you already called it earlier. They were going to be in a terrible position to try and deal with some of this attack that was going to be coming their way. And now Gedrox is getting even more.
Acend realizing they have to make some aggressive plays to get something done here. Full on brawling their way into the remaining 2 players of Little W.
You got to make something happen. Here comes the breach, trying like a SWAT team to get on in here. But Shengen says he'd take down Braexco already. And a few more smokes to try and kind of get them advancing a little bit further. But Floyd Jacket takes down 2 Kiliakai as well. Floyd Jacket goes big. He's able to get 3. They were 2 alive.
Basically, that's game 1. We have like a really good game plan and macro, which is everything is fine. We see like zone 1. We're like doing our playstyle. We go step by step. We take informations, get informations, and we do plays based on informations. So, for example, we see those guys leaving. We take 2 spots, and then we go step by step. And then we're like, good spot, zone 2. Now we're like limited on options, and this is, for example, for game 1, where the game falls apart. It's because now we have like to make a decision. If we see this circle, I'm like on top of a hill and I'm trying to scout everything. We are going for a dip right here, but that's the misplay because we knew that those guys are splitting. So in a like their correct decision would have been if that we're gonna kill those 2 guys and then we play our game. But we didn't have like maybe it was like no confidence that we were kind of avoiding the fight and went for the dip. So we knew from the beginning that we're gonna chase the circle here. We had to be like really lucky to not chase the circle. But since we're like playing it like there's like a big high ground, we have like a lot of like we see the whole circle. There's like there's gonna be opportunities we can use And we had opportunities, but we made, in my opinion, like a really bad mistake. Because we did not punish a split. And we were kind of like avoiding the fight because we were maybe not confident enough to take the fight on this zone, even though we had to have like a good game. And then we got pinned here and we died.
Komm schon, oder nicht, Mika?
Wo
Ja,
ist der nicht?
vor dir, ja, vor dir, rechts vom Killy.
Ich hab bei mir ist ein Smoke.
Ja, nicht du. Ich mein Killy, hinter dem Stand, glaube ich.
Rechts. Hinter dem
Nice.
Because this spot we take right here is not good because they have like both sides on us and they can just collapse on us and win the fight. Even though we should have just been here and kill them and then we go here. We have only 2 enemies left on our side. Then we would have played the game.
We also spend a lot of time in that game to try and set up a play for the northern side. You can see 3 of the players are just driving to the north because we see that there's a team. So one of the green players you see at the top, they're using an emergency pickup. So we think they might be leaving this area, and then we could just backfill and play that area and have a lot of space. But the second we see that they don't actually take the E pickup and they keep playing their own edge, it basically becomes impossible. So we have to cancel that play, go back. That costs us a lot of time and that costs us a lot of focus. And then we have to decide pretty fast what we're going to do. And we make the wrong choice here, which is like we said, the not confident, not a non-aggressive choice, which is sometimes smart, but not always.
The best thing to do is like to keep the mood up. Just like maybe joke a little around and stuff. And everyone is, to be honest, doing what he wants to do. Like someone is going maybe outside for a second or even goes away from the PC for a second. Some are grinding deathmatch. Some people are watching the games. Everyone is just doing like what he wants to do. And then there's like the time where the lobby comes up and we join the lobby. And then we have like another 5 minutes. And then we go focus to the next game and talk about maybe even what went wrong before and what we have to change for the next game.
It's all about keeping, like Braexco said, keeping the mood up. You're not trying to fix your game in the middle of the games, really. You're trying to make sure you're performing, right? You're not really, you're talking about what's going wrong, but you got to make sure you're not really arguing, or you don't really start doubting yourself too much. And in a situation like this, it was hard circles, and it was probably like it was a mistake, but it was also not an easy game, and it's like completely normal to have that in every game now and then. It's always easy to say after the game what would have been the right play, right? So you can't put yourself down too much.
Monte-Team.
Ja, aber nur einer. Ja, aber nur einer. Ja, aber das ist unser Team wahrscheinlich. Der Judge Spawn holen geht oder so.
Basically, we loot all of them are. And this is the first circle, so we're kind of close to the circle. This means we have like more prio than we had like before, because if you remember first game, the zone was like here. We lose a lot of prio. So in this game, we actually like, I go instantly like towards closer like to the middle spot. I go here and scout middle spots. So basically we have like really good spots, if you can see the zone. So if we get like a little bit of circle lock, we are like in the middle of the zone. Which is like a completely different game to game and playstyle to game 1. So we wait for circle 2, then circle pops. We have like a really good spot. We just group in this compound, which makes like which creates like a game plan for us. Is like W, which is like a different team. In the time we were grouping, W were like trying to breach us because they might think our compound was clear, and we can kill 2 of them.
Dahinter, der ist alleine. Noch einer Breach, der kommt sonst. Nice.
Wir sind da.
And the big information we got out of this is that the two other guys from W went to the compound next to us. So that's like a really good information. You know the rest of the game, it's only 2 guys in this compound. It's like really good information you can get.
Is this the infamous one where you guys try to go like clear out the second half of this compound?
Yeah, we fucked up.
Acend realizing they have to make some aggressive plays to get something done here, full on brawling their way into the remaining 2 players of Little W.
You gotta make something happen. Here comes the breach, trying like a SWAT team to get on in here, but Shengen says he take down Braexco already. A few more smokes to try and kind of get them advancing a little bit further, but Sloy Jacket takes down 2 Kiliakai as well. And Sloy Jacket goes big. He is able to get 3. They were 2 alive during all of this, having been taken out by Acend early.
Those are the roughest games, I think, because you've gotten, like, you played a good early game, you got 1 circle that was good for you, and it felt like everybody felt like, oh, we should get a good game here. and then you make one small mistake, and everybody's like, "Wow, we fucked it. We threw this game away." Because it's a 4v2, right? You should never lose a 4v2 ever. But it happens all the time in PUBG. Like, this is probably one of the harder compounds to breach 4v2 in the game. But it was definitely winnable, but it wasn't as easy as it feels in your head, I think. So it's really like you really punish yourself for that one mentally, and it really feels terrible. So again, that game was, I think, from our perspective, way worse mentally than the first one, because the first one was hard and the second one was somewhat easy, and we went out with 2 points. So that really sucked in that moment for sure. This is another hard game, I feel like, for us as well. Is the circle goes really hard away from us. We follow it in. We figure out the area in front of us. We're being really careful because this area is really hard to scout. Then we come in and it goes hard away from us again into an area that's completely open with 2 big compounds. So really hard for anyone that's not in the compounds. And then we also have a team that's really forcing a fight with us, and they're taking it very slow. They're literally running into the blue to fight us, so they're delaying us a ton, which slows us down massively. And then the circle goes away again.
You did kill them, though, yeah?
We did kill them. We did win the fight, but they slowed us down massively.
Even more here.
I actually kind of like them slowing this down. Ooh, nice ankle in the blue. That's going to be Shaken finding one. I believe he had himself a jammer peg on, so not taking any damage with it. But here's Chris with the P90 in hand. Killick able to find one as well. And that is going to be the downfall for Lil W.
And then we have to send it somewhere. And you can even just looking at the map, you can see there's not a lot to play in this circle. Right. And there's a 4-man team in this compound. There's 2 4-man teams in this compound. And the rest is open fields. So it's very hard for us to get anywhere. And we have not a lot of time to see as well what a team like this is Pod here, what they are doing. Because there's just a lot of trees in the way and we can't actually see them. So we just go for Acend towards the field. And we think maybe if we drive through the open field a little bit, we can scout what's good and what's not. But we just get completely lasered by them, already set up for us, already waiting for us.
NT.
I think that was a hard game, and we could have played it a little bit better, but I don't know how much better the outcome really would have been, because just them taking this fight against us here just slows us down so much, and then there's really not much to play in this circle anymore at all. So you have 1 car left, you have 3 players up, and you have a team that's 4-man up and that haven't had to do anything all game. They've been setting up their game for all this entire time here, and they've had minutes and minutes and minutes to set up, just waiting for us, and we have to send it in and hope for the best. So it's just not a fight you're supposed to win. But then, that's the 3rd game where you had a pretty rough game and you didn't really get much going. And even though it feels like you didn't really do much wrong. So things are starting to pile up a little bit at that point, I feel like.
Quizzy also sees him in the distance here, where the Dragunov is able to connect one of those shots, but it does look like Acend might be able to get through on this blast. Example does knock Killiakai on the entrance.
Would be naive to think you could get all the way through without taking any casualties. Them only losing 1. Well, now the second one fell as well, but even then...
Acend, it's cold in the north, and they are shivering. They're shivering. Brrr. How are you supposed to deal with this? I mean, yeah, you've got yourself into the middle of this position, but Madballs, all they need to do is throw down a few nades here and there. This is crazy. Pera's trying to go for it, and maybe this is a few kills here and there. Chris will clean it up along with Perfectix.
And he's still following suit for quite a bit of the journey in the meantime, though.
That's an opportunity here for Acend to really capitalize on it. They're in such a rough spot here, especially if suddenly lines of sight open up for a foot to be able to put some pressure on. So
19 points of HP as he tries to swing the corner. Not gonna happen. Brex is there.
As this movement tries to move on here once again from It's Chris trying to find the 8s. He does finish him off here. Defect ran over Hakatori. Never mind about that. BBL.
Der Jungs. War schön mit euch.
But Acend has got a timer against them. They're going to have to try and move, but they're going to get battered on this cross.
Yeah, there's literally nothing they can do. And now you're reaching a point where who do you want to give these points to? And do you want to give these points to anyone at all? Killiakai down to the blue. I believe it's just Chris left on his feet. And can he even get out of here in the meantime, teams?
Sagst du so
Wie
spät?
viel noch looten? Ja, ich dachte, du hast noch ein paar.
Chris makes a really cool play, killing one of the Navi players very early. So
Oh, I remember
that,
this. Yeah.
that's really cool for us because that means the team next to us is only 3 alive, right? That's something you can punish very often. And then we get a really good phase 2 where we know, okay, this is really good for us. There's 3 teams right now on midi base. We're one of them. We have a lot of space. We have a lot of chances. But so this should be a really good game for us in theory. But then loads of people take e-pickups into the forest here. Some people come around on the ferry, and we get a really terrible phase 3.
Right, because
and
you guys
suddenly
are on the high ground right now.
we're on the very high ground. We see all of this, but all of this is also taken very fast.
Mhm.
And you can't really we couldn't really just control the whole circle. We could have tried to maybe keep some space down here or something, but then an emergency pickup lands on your head and suddenly you lost your main position or something like that. So this game again is kind of just baited us by a really nice phase 2 and then a terrible phase 3. And then this is the moment where I feel like we made a play that we wouldn't have made if the day was better, if we had a better day coming into this. Because we go for a rotate like all the way around the edge and we send into a forest that we have like no idea about. We have no information what's going on here at all, right? This is way too far away. But we just see that nothing in front of us is like easy because we have Navi here, we have Entropic here, we have Little W here. So it's not easy to take anything in front of us. So we go for like a pretty risky send into unknown territory, and it doesn't work out at all.
You can see here, EB probably would prefer to get off this position. In the meantime, we have Acend trying to wrap down around the southern side of military base proper. They've left Chris up on the observatory hill. I saw them drive off earlier.
Maybe if we had a good day, we would have said, yeah, I mean, we just play down from a hill, and worst case, we just take the direct route and we try to path it into the forest and fight someone there and kill them, right? But I feel like this is similar like the game 1, where we kind of went to avoid the fights, but it wasn't really the play at all. And I felt like that was the first moment where I felt like we wouldn't be playing like this if we were more confident right now.
I do feel like the way Acend has played this game, I mean, yeah, okay, you got the jump on one Navi member early on, but with the separation and the non-grouping up or like along the south side, it feels almost like a throwaway game at this point for the way that they're approaching it. So separated, can't get together. Now they're going for a big wide wrap on that west side after that little engagement.
That's a tricky situation for me because I don't want to be sitting there telling the players that they fucked up that game and that was bad. But I do have to try and I have to try and change it, right? I have to try and make us play like we're confident again, but I also can't say, oh, that was shit, guys. That was terrible. So I don't know. That was a really tricky situation for me. And I feel like if we just had a bit more luck in the games leading up to that, then we probably would have gotten way more points out of this game as well. But that's kind of the way PUBG goes sometimes. And that's the reason why it snowballs so much is because confidence is just so key.
Pressure was okay on day 1, but if you have like a really bad day like we had on day 1, like you have a lot more pressure on day 2. So we just had to like play our game, but don't fuck up today.
Yeah. Yeah, just play good today. Yeah, but that's the thing is like you watch these games, but it's not easy to take anything away from those games, except we had some really hard circles and we were maybe a little bit too passive. And then obviously there's always individual mistakes or small things you could have done better, but you're gonna find that even for the team that got 3rd place that day, you're gonna find a lot of small mistakes because PUBG is so hard that you're always making mistakes. So the main takeaway for me was to just try a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive. And that was the only real thing that I thought we could do better on day 2.
To be honest, day 2 was basically half-half. Like the first 3 games were so bad, like worse than day 1. The games were super hard. We were unlucky, of course, but we were playing so bad. And after game 3, there was like a point in the team where we actually got like, I don't know, get mad. I don't know, mad, but maybe frustration. But we started talking like different. And Chris had a little speech as well. And we tried to approach the games different after game 3. And I think we did like played decent. We played better, but we didn't get like a lot of points.
The Erangel you picked up into school and got like a few points off of that, but we basically we didn't take any space at the start of the game, so we couldn't really get anything going. The second Erangel we make we have a rough circle, and Mika makes a big mistake, so he dies, and then our game's kind of really rough from that point onwards.
I mean, look at how cool it's going to be whenever the blue comes through, Saki. In the meantime, let's get serious for a moment. As Acend, we mentioned them earlier, or at least Hawkey did. In trouble. Mika found early as Hakatori pops the head off him.
The tail game, I feel like we completely slept through what we could have done that game, and we felt really slow and passive and bad. And then, like Brex said, kind of the breaking point happened.
Now it's just Mika left alive, trying to get something done against the entirety of Na'Vi. Locks the nade around the side, can't quite connect initially. Gets the flush down to Braexco as well, as Hakatori 6 bullets in the chamber, can't find him. The ring around the Rosie became too much for him.
And we played a really good Vikendi game. We did a really good rotation in the Miramar game, where we kind of lose. You can look at that game and say that was good, because we take we take an E pickup, we fly into the middle of the zone. We time the E pickup, so we will see where phase 2 goes, so we can go for a high priority spot in phase 2, which is a pretty good strategy most of the time, because if you're looking at the other teams on the map, you'll see that a lot of teams are moving while we are flying. A lot of teams haven't even grouped yet, for example, right? So you can punish them pretty easily, stuff like that. So the play overall is really good, but then we execute it kind of way too slow and poorly. And we get punished again because other teams start making plays around us and stuff.
Perfect sense for them to do so. So with the circle shifting, they know that their priorities are gonna lie elsewhere. More teams are gonna be coming from the north. Acend will come out on top in this fight, but can Braexco and Mika reset fast enough to stand strong against Lil W?
We're kind of just really close to having really good games, but we just aren't as clean as we need to be. And I think that's the same thing in the last game, where I mean, it's not the same thing. It's the same thing in the Vikendi game, where it's like we lose a player early and then we manage to salvage it into a decent game. But because we lost a player so early, our options were just so limited all the time. Because we're constantly like from the back foot, and we constantly have Na'Vi, a team that's been performing really high. They're at the top of the leaderboard, and they also don't give a care in the world because they're a global partner. So we have a really confident, really strong team, just constantly breathing down our necks, kind of trying to ruin all of our game because they know we're 3 up. So even though we managed to salvage this into a really good game, it was so hard just because of losing 1 to Na'Vi early. And them constantly pressuring us and them never letting us play our own game. Even here in phase 6 or whatever this is, they're still sort of knocking us, doing a lot of damage, and being a really big problem to us. We're starting to play a little bit better, but the games are still really, really hard. And when the games are not hard, we don't execute super well. So it's like, we just can't, like, it's just not, like, nothing, we're just not getting in the flow. We're not getting any of the big game changer games that we would really need. Same for the last game. We make like we're coming in from a pretty bad spot. The circle goes as far away from us as it physically can. Then we flip 2 of our vehicles, which is us being terrible again, and get sandstormed. And then we make a really good decision here, which is we go on the timing of the circle shift, right? So we know while we're driving, we'll know what's good in the zone, and we take our best option. But then the game kind of just ends up in a way where we end up getting crunched the whole game, and we have 2 teams, like we have Mad Bulls around us who can play around us super comfortably because they can support each other so well, and we have Na'Vi holding us from the other side. So we can't really do anything all game. And then in the very late game, we just get Panzerfausted and blown up by Na'Vi, basically.
But if he's able to hit a big Panzerfaust play on this could be absolute Armageddon for Acend. Nades are coming through. Fairus actually deals with the entirety of Twisted Minds on the other side. He dies to the blue. Here comes Panzerfaust, Hakatori. And they're taking fights on both sides. How has Na'Vi done this?
They just 3v8'd Acend and Twisted Minds.
And we can't even get out of here because all of this space is completely, it doesn't look like it on the map, but all of this is completely controlled by Mad Bulls because we're fully open to them. So even though we try to be more active, we try to get out of there, we just can't. And then Na'Vi is crazy enough, like I said, right? Fully confident, had a brilliant tournament so far. They're confident enough to push us with 3 people, while Fairist is 1v4ing Twisted Minds. And because they are so comfortable and so confident, it just works, right? that's not something you do if you're last on the scoreboard and nothing you've tried this tournament has worked. But everything was working for Na'Vi, everything was working for Mad, and we just couldn't get anything going.
Also in our heads, we know there's like 4 Twist people above them, so they're gonna help us. We don't have to do anything. But then there's just one guy killing Wolf Twist, and we know like, oh yeah, we get no support here.
And we can't even go out here because Twist is shooting us. So we know that Twist sees all of this, right? So we're like, okay, like we can't go out on this side, we can't go out on this side, but we should be fine because Twist is helping us. But then Ferris just kills 3 of Twist, and suddenly our game is over. Regarding to your question, it's like kind of once you're sitting, we're sitting in this for 4 circles or something, right? So we basically at this point we talk through everything we can talk through. We'll talk through like who's next to us. Oh, this guy's getting knocked. Is that bum next to us? Is that bum and foot on the east side? Try and get that kind of information, right? Because now, for example, you would know that this squad is 2 alive or something. So you try to get that sort of information, and then you talk about the setup versus Na'Vi because they are our biggest threat. So we talk about what we do if they push us and how we use our utility and our folded shields and stuff. So we pretty much talk about everything we can because we have so much time to discuss everything and pre-plan everything. And then sometimes there'll be someone trying to make an active play because we realize, right, we're sitting here for 20 minutes, 10 minutes. You try to get active at some point just so that you're actually in the game and you're actually in the flow of the game.
Right.
But so people will say, oh, we can try and go nade this guy. But then as soon as we go even outside the door very slightly, we just get peppered from the whole map. So we're like, okay, that doesn't work. We try to do as much as we can while not dying, but we're just limited completely by our position and we can't really be very active at all.
Zu swipe.
Einer knock. Komm mir rechts rum. Hinter Baum, einer close, einer Baum. Zwei rechts.
You had to get 4th place, I think, at that point. And we were only 40 points away. So that is kind of delusional, but also in 6 games, it's mathematically doable, right?
Just imagine if you're lucky and get a back-to-back, you're like back at it.
Yeah, you just win 2 games, you have 50 points, maybe the other team's got like 5 to 10 points, suddenly you're 10 points behind, right?
Right.
So
true.
It's still in reach in theory. But then you really gotta pop off, you really gotta go crazy, and it's kind of out of your hands at that point, I think.
I think we were heading into phase 3 with go big or go home. Because everything has to work out. We need like 80, 90 points today. So just like play confidence, but also like we have to be a little bit lucky.
I think, like what Bray said, we were kind of hoping because like you said, it's out of our hands, right? But then, I don't know, as soon as game 1 happened, I feel like it kind of slipped out of our fingers a little bit. Because Chris, like we get into a reasonable position in game 1. It's not fantastic, but it's pretty good. But then Chris makes a mistake and gets flushed while we have a really like solid spot in the circle, and that already makes everyone feel so bad, especially Chris, but makes the others feel bad as well. And then we just kind of get surrounded, and everybody has space around us, and we
Na'Vi pinned in between 2 teams. Segatory falls. Kilikai will get traded in return. Mika falls as well, so it's sent down to just Brex.
No, smart. Sorry.
we don't get anything going, and then game 2 is one of the games where we get mortared to absolute bits by 2 different teams at the same time.
Oh my god, I remember that one.
Which is actually like I'm a waffler, sorry, but we take a pretty good dip in that game 2. There's Twist in a dip right next to us, right?
Right.
And then as soon as the circle pops, we get one team drives by, instantly kind of dies. Twist leaves, and we get mortared by one team. And as they are done mortaring, we get mortared by FaZe Clan. So they basically take turns mortaring us, so Bum can push us while FaZe is still mortaring us, and it's just impossible to defend.
Kilikai is all that remains.
If you're able to line up these distances and find yourself a decent spot to keep yourself covered whilst using a mortar out in the open, it's the perfect tool to dislodge teams like this. They have to be clumped up in this area. Here comes Bumble Squad to finish it off, and they are gone. Down and out are Acend once again.
That happens so rarely. Like, them timing those mortars in that way, and actually also the FaZe Clan player hitting the mortar exactly on the player that was knocked by Bum, meaning he flushes one and knocks the rezzing player, is so rare and so unlucky. You just don't see that. You just don't see that stuff very often. But it just makes you feel like it's not meant to be. I think that's pretty much what people were saying, like, after that game, is like, it's just like, it's not meant to be. Like,
After the candy, it's not meant to be.
Yeah, can't fault it. When I Die told me to shut the hell up here, but we got Acend. Ooh, be careful. Mortar's raining down on this position. They know a few more are coming in as well. So they're going to try and sidestep this, not running towards it, so they can actually completely negate the damage that's going to be coming in. Almost hit BBL straight, and that one will. It's just a perfect spot to launch them from.
Yeah, it's again compound. As soon as mortars were announced, we knew that it was gonna just be yet another kind of addition to favoring the people already in good spots. And here we see it when hello, my bad. He ain't done yet. He's lobbing them in all directions. Mortars, doesn't matter if it has BBL or Ascend's names on it. He will find his targets. As one more connects. And Mika and Chris now both on their knees.
Yeah, I mean, this was already, yeah, I mean, Vikendi we get mortared again, but I think Vikendi is even less crazy, but this is two teams teaming up to mortar us perfectly, and it's just, yes, sure, it's a part of the game, but it's so rare that it happens in that magnitude, and yeah.
To ask you guys the hard question.
Yeah, mortar's bad. Really bad feature. I think overall our playstyle still works, but there's like a little few games where we have to realize when we have to go like high risk, high reward, or we're like doomed anyways. Because we're always trying to like play like the smart way, trying to like get in the zone, try to get this dip here and there, and like after the game you're just like, bro, we should have just sent it and try to win the 4v4. If we win the 4v4 in the compound, if we reach them, we have like a big game, 20-point game. If we die, we die. But if we play like we do right now, we get like 3 to 4 points, but who cares? I think like there's like a little games where we have to go big, like high risk, high reward. But otherwise we just have to like, even if you're like listening to us right now for like the last, I don't know how long, there's like just one mistake which just ruins our like real game, even though like we had the opportunities to have like good games. So I think our playstyle still works. Sometimes I agree we have to go like more high risk, high reward. But in general, I think we can still like win tournaments with this playstyle.
The playstyle has gotten worse, I think, with the introduction of mortars and e-pickups, because I think we are really good at or Brex is really good at understanding where teams are or should be on the map. But when people can just fly across the whole map without you seeing that, and then they can be in a compound, but you don't see it because they have no vehicles in that compound, that makes it so much harder to read where everybody is. And then obviously mortars are very good for teams that have gotten the right compound, because the circle goes to them. They're sitting in the compound with their mortar. They have time to line up the shots, and they can mortar everybody that has to go for dips around them, right? So going for these high-risk compounds, or like these high-priority compounds that everyone is fighting for, has gotten more valuable, I feel like, over time. And knowing the map and playing weaker positions has gotten a little bit weaker, but I think our overall playstyle is still really good. It's just we executed it really poorly in a lot of the games where it mattered. And that's the main problem. So I don't think you should change playstyle just because you have one bad tournament. It doesn't really work for most people and most teams.
Like one big step we have to do as a team right now, or we wanna do, is like we wanna be like more efficient time we spend. Like we want to get like a better team at practice. We want to like spend our time way better. It's like a big thing we have to do right now for the next 2 months until we go like to the big tournament.
I think that's the main challenge. Like we said, right? We had some troubles practicing before the event, and then we felt like they were kind of just practice problems. But throughout 18 games of PUBG, you will make a lot of mistakes. But if you can minimize, or maybe just do 30% less mistakes or something, you're a way better team. So practice is really important, and we really have to focus on that and not focus on the things where we got unlucky or focus on the meta changing, but more just focus on ourselves and actually get better. And if we manage to do that as a team, then I think we're still looking good for 2024.
Next tournament
Braexco do that.
just can go better. 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of crazy. And this, like, literally... So the fans are kind of what made me feel the worst about this tournament. Because I don't know why, but I feel bad about us doing badly. And it sucks for me to then keep streaming and sitting there explaining to people how PUBG works when we just got 16th and stuff. But that all doesn't really bother me. But we have so many fans who are actually super nice, and there were people literally supporting through all 18 games when we had pretty much given up, and people were still so invested and cheering for us so hard. So disappointing them felt way worse than actually doing poorly. And that sounds really corny, but it's kind of just true. Yeah, I think we're very lucky to have a fan base like that. And I don't know, it just feels bad to disappoint them like this. And I hope we don't do that again, I guess.
Blub Blub Ascend Club. We rise up again like bubbles, right?
Blub Blub Ascend Club. Let's go.